up, Big Pirates? Back here with another video with our boy Izzy.
What's up?
This time we have another masterclass for you. This time it's going to be Blue Bleach. Should be coming out within a week or two, and it is a deck that you should be looking forward to if you were a fan of the first Bleach set. Um, what's some stuff that you can tell us about this deck, Izzy?
Yeah, I think the main goal with this deck, it is obviously the Ichigo, Rukia, and like Renji stuff. So it's very much like a toolbox deck. You can make it however you want. You can either make it control, or you can just be like, a little bit aggro with, the tempo. And basically, the Ichigo side is, discarding certain cards to gain benefits from it. Like maybe you draw a card, maybe you get double attack, certain things like that. And the other side is like the Rukia. So the Rukia is kind of like the Toshiro, where you rest something, but then if you have a 2 AP character on the front line, you're able to rest it until the Rukia leaves the field, so it's almost like a permanent rest.
Oh, permanent. Okay.
Yeah, pretty
So
good.
this
That freeze.
Yeah, that Bankai freeze.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It sounds like a very much more inner like fingers, but plus, because you know how like in Blue JJK, Sukuna gets like effects like either Malevolent Shrine or himself based on the
Yeah.
amount of fingers. So I guess I can see that here happening.
No, yeah, exactly.
So in your build, is it more Ichigo sided or is it more Rukia sided?
Yeah, it's pretty much more Ichigo sided, especially just once we look at the cards, the special is the Ichigo special, and we do opt into the the Zangetsu cards, which you discard, you can draw a card.
Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. And if you had to like guess or you place it on a tier list, what would you think this deck would be in the future? Like tier 1, tier 2, tier 0?
I think coming into the meta, I think it'll be tier 1, very much. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it has it's in a pretty decent color, I would say, like the color trigger is pretty good. It draws a lot, so it's very consistent. And you have a very strong raid character, which, gets to like 5K.
Okay, yeah, you always want that. And I think you mentioned it before in the channel for those long events, especially with regionals coming up. You want a very consistent deck. And if this is something that is that consistent, I think it's probably a contender for that.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into these cards, all right? All right, Izzy. So you'll be showing us some of the key cards in this deck, some cards that you think are probably more prominent than others.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just going to start off with the zero cost. We have the zero cost Ichigo, the winner card. It has one played. It's obviously the very much a staple. Draw a card, then place one card from your hand into your sideline. But in this deck specifically, it does gain other benefits from certain cards, which we'll find out later on.
Okay.
And then, the next card we have, the next zero cost we have is the Rukia. So we do need our raid target. So we do have the Rukia. It's very simple, just get trigger.
Okay.
And our third and last zero cost is the Zangetsu. So this is kind of opting into the Ichigo engine. So the benefit you gain from this when you discard it with an Ichigo is when it's placed from your hand into your sideline from a blue Ichigo, that Ichigo specifically gains, it cannot be blocked by characters with 3K or less BP until the end of the turn.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's one of the things, and it has an active trigger as well. So pretty good.
That alone, you're just limiting your opponent's, I guess, blockers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're forcing them to, you're forcing them to block with their 4K bodies, which usually they're trying to
Save.
Yeah.
I know I'm trying to save mine 4Ks.
Yeah, exactly. And then next, we have one of our searchers. So this searcher is, you look at the top 3, and you search for anything that has no affinity, and you add it to your hand. So no affinity basically means anything below this name, like this Kisuke right here, it has no affinity. An example of an affinity would be this Rukia. So this Rukia has 13 court guard squad as an affinity, so you can't grab it off the search.
Oh, okay.
And then you trash a card. So yeah, it's a simple draw. It's a simple search that looks at the top 3 and then has a draw trigger. Then next we have our 2 costs. So we have our Ichigo. So this Ichigo is a 2 cost 3K. And then activate main when you place one card from the hand to sideline. This character gains, can't be blocked by 4K or more until end of turn. So yeah, that's really strong. And honestly, it can be a game ender, especially with this Zangetsu, being able to discard this. The only thing that thing can block with is 3,500. So yeah, pretty good.
I bet that's a sticky situation for your opponents.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I have it at 3. Then we have the other 2 cost, which is the Orihime. So this Orihime is a 2 cost 3K, pretty good stat line. It has a draw trigger, and it also has sort of benefit. This is one of the only cards that benefits an Ichigo without it having to be the specific Ichigo you discard with. So it says, when this card is placed from your hand into your sideline by an ability on a blue Ichigo on your field, choose up to 1 Ichigo on your field. It gains, this character cannot be chosen by your opponent's character or trigger abilities until the start of your next turn. So you're basically getting protected from any special triggers, any raids, like maybe the 5 cost Ichigo from purple.
Yeah.
That's able to sideline stuff.
Oh, so it's kind of like the special trigger for Red Garo.
Yeah, Red Garo, yeah. It's
That's
protecting
cool.
you from the certain effects like that. So it's pretty good. And like I said, this is the only card where the benefit's not on specifically the Ichigo that you discarded it with. Up next, we have our 3 costs. So this is the 3 cost Orihime. Is our color trigger. So when played, you may return 1 character with 2 cost or less required energy to your hand, and then if you do, add up to 1 card with 2 cost or less required energy from your sideline to your hand. So that can be maybe your Zangetsu that you need, or even if you're looking at other things, it only says card. So maybe you need this card right here, which is another Zangetsu card.
Oh.
Yeah. And it can also just, bounce any card in your hand. So maybe you want to bounce back the Ichigo to be able to draw again.
To trigger more effects.
Yeah, exactly. And then up next we have 3 costs. So this is our first SR that we're seeing. So this SR is the Renji. So it costs 3 and then 2 action points. Has Nullify Impact. When played, you may place 1 card from your hand into your sideline. And if you do, choose up to 1 of your APs and switch it to active. So it could cost for 1 as long as you discard a card.
Ooh.
And I don't know if you noticed, but it's a 4K as well. So that's a pretty good stat line.
For a 3, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other really nice effect is the activate main. If there is another character on your front line with 2 or more AP, switch this character to active. So basically you can get, say 3rd turn, you can just get 2 of these on the field. You play this one for 2 and maybe discard a card, and then you play another one. And then since there's another 2 AP character, you can switch them both to active. You can instantly attack with them.
That's crazy.
So yeah, pretty strong.
That is.
And it's a get trigger, so if it comes through life, you can always put it in your hand. Pretty good. And then I'm just running this as a one-off, just another 2 energy generator, but it's this Rukia right here that says, when played, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand to your sideline. And then if there's a character with 2 or more base AP cost on your front line, you may draw a card instead. So yeah, it's just more card draw, and it's a raid target.
Yeah.
Then we're going to the 4 costs. So this is our first raid, which is the Ichigo.
The main character.
Yeah, the main character.
Yeah.
Very, very strong card. So it's a 4 cost 4K. And then when played, you choose up to 2 characters with 2K or less BP on your opponent's front line, and you give it minus 1,500 BP until the end of the turn. So it'll make any 4K a 2,500, or even say they have a 5K on board. You make that 5K a 3,500, and now if they block, they're not going to have a favorable block. And then this is one of the best effects is its activate main. So you place 1 card with Zangetsu or Getsuga in its card name in your. Let me see. Look at this. And from your hand into your sideline, if you do draw a card, so you just draw a card already from trashing that card, and then it gains plus 1 KBP, so it's at 5K. And then when attacking, drop to 1 card until end of turn.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah.
So you ditch a card, but you're replacing it basically.
Yeah, you're replacing it, and you're getting another card on top of that when you attack with it. Yeah. And it can be this Zangetsu right here that you can pitch, and you can pitch this other one that we're about to see soon, and even the special, the Ichigo special, also has Getsuga in its name, and it gives a certain benefit to this Ichigo. Yeah, so pretty nice.
Very much in sync. I see it. I see the vision.
Yeah, a lot of synergy here. Then I'm running 3 of the 4-cost Rukia, so this is the raid. So when played on the front line, choose up to 1 character on my opponent's front line and switch it to resting, so it has that Toshiro effect.
Yeah.
Then if it's your turn and there's a character with 2 or more base AP costs on your front line, switch it to resting. The chosen character remains set to resting until the character leaves the front line instead. So basically, you rest something, like say this character gets rested, and then now until this character leaves the field, it won't be able to activate again. So
for nothing, right? Like
yeah. So even if you hit an active trigger and you choose this character, it won't become active. It'll just gain the 3K.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I bet that's frustrating sometimes for your opponents.
Oh yeah, it can be really strong. Then we actually have one more character, which is the 4-cost 2 AP Ichigo. And this one it's pretty good. It's a type of removal. It's kind of like the Yuji in a way, but it's not a raid. So choose up to 1 character with 4K or less BP on your opponent's front line and return it to their hand, so it's balancing that 4K character. And then activate main, draw a card, then place 1 card from your hand into your sideline, so you're getting that effect when it's on the front line. So you're always able to filter through your hand really quickly. And then obviously, since it is Ichigo in name, you are getting benefits from any Zangetsu or Getsuga.
On it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or even the 2-cost Orihime. So maybe, you're in situations where you're forced to play it on the front line, right? And since it comes in rested, you don't gain that benefit of attacking.
Yeah.
But this one can, protect it from like character effects until the start of your next turn. So they'll be able to kill it with an event card, but it'll at least be protected by character effects.
True.
Mm-hmm. And then now we're moving on to the event cards we have. So as I was showing before, we have this one. His name is Zangetsu. So just playing it by itself, it draws 2 cards, which it's not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then when this card is placed from your hand into your sideline by an Ichigo, a blue Ichigo, you draw a card. So you can say first turn you're playing this Ichigo, you draw a card, and then you place 1 card from your hand to your sideline. If you discard this card, you just draw another card. So you're basically doing draw 2, discard 1, which is very good value for a 0 cost. Yeah, and you're setting up a body
That's
as well.
so crazy. That's cracked.
Yeah, that's really good. And then obviously we have our finals, very, very simple final. And as I was showing before, the special, a very key card in this deck, kind of gives you that aggression. So normally, just playing it out, you choose 1 character with 3,500 or less BP on your opponent's front line and sideline it. So, it's not as strong as other specials just playing it by itself.
Yeah.
But when this card is placed from your hand into your sideline by an ability on a blue Ichigo on your field, you put 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, that Ichigo gains double tag until end of the turn. So basically, any of the Ichigos, like we have the 2-cost Ichigo, and then we have the raid. So the raid, if you trash this card, you bottom deck a card, and it gains when attacking, draw a card. That means since it has double tech, it'll draw 2 cards. So you're drawing 3 cards total from this raid.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And obviously, even if you do want to use it as like an event for 3,500, you can combo with this raid right here, which does minus 1,500, and then you can, kill something that's, 5K.
5K or anything. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's within reach, basically.
Yeah, it's within reach.
That's good. That's not too
So yeah, that's the whole, Blue Bleach deck right there.
All right. And you were going to show us some cool interactions or combos with this deck, Izzy?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So one of the early combos you can do with this deck is the synergy with Ichigo and its event card. So we have this Ichigo right here that when played, draw a card, then put 1 card from your hand into your sideline. One of the best targets for that is actually this. His name is Zangetsu. So when you place this card into the sideline with a blue Ichigo, you do draw an extra card. So you're keeping your hands the same. So that's one of the early interactions. Then one of the next interactions we have is with the color trigger. So we do have this Orihime. So, you know, in that early turn, you know, you might have trashed this. His name is Zangetsu, and maybe you want to gain the benefit back. So what you can do is, you know, maybe you're going second, and then you play these two out. Maybe next turn you play this Ichigo, you play this Orihime, you return this Ichigo, so a 2 cost or less, you return it from the field to your hand. Then you can return a 2 cost card from the sideline. So you can return this, his name is Zangetsu, back to your hand. And then, you know, just with your next AP, you can just play it again, and then you can trash it again, and you're drawing 2 cards.
Oh.
Yeah, so you're able to, you know, draw through your deck really, really fast.
Being able to see your key cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
And then let's say for your third turn, say this was your second turn, your third turn, you know, a good way to start would probably be, you know, you're sitting here with 3 AP. You know, you can always push up this Ichigo right here. Now you're at 4. With 2 AP, you can always play this Renji first, and then, you know, it's when played, you just discard a card, and then it'll restand an AP, so you'll be at 2 again. And then you can either play maybe another Renji, or even just this Ichigo, return a 4K or less to their hand. And then, you know, usually with 2 AP cards that don't attack early, usually losing tempo, but with this one, since you have another 2 AP on the front line, you're able to restand it.
Crazy.
And then, you know, swing for damage, and it has nullify impact.
Yeah, and you were able to remove a body, establish 2 attackers this turn. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, it has nullify impact. So even if they like somehow set something up next turn with impact, you're just like, oh yeah, GG, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Very strong card.
Very strong.
Then up next, we have obviously the Raid Ichigo. So the Raid Ichigo, for this turn, you can always just raid onto this Ichigo, and it does give minus 1500 or something, which has really good synergy with the Zangetsu, because, you know, maybe they only have 2 4K bodies up front. You give them minus 1500, they'll be at 2500, and you give this, you know, can't be blocked by 3K or less. That's pretty good, and then you draw 2 cards from that.
Oh yeah.
Or, you know, like the key synergy is with this Getsuga, which is, you know, it gives it double attack, and then with this double attack, you're able to, you know, draw 2 cards when attacking. It's a 5K. And, you know, next turn you can always, you know, refill your hand again. Maybe you want to use the Orihime, return that, you know, either the Zangetsu or his name is Zangetsu.
Yeah.
And then you just keep getting that active synergy.
That benefit. Oh. Those are some really cool moves, man.
Yeah, so I would say that's mainly the main thing. We do have the Rukia. The Rukia is more of like a control card in the deck. So you're mainly using it when maybe you did that third turn with, you know, maybe the Ichigo, the 2 AP Ichigo. You know, maybe they cleared, you know, this Renji right here. You still have this 2 AP, you know, next turn you can always raid right here, rest something else, and you still have 2 4K bodies that you're attacking with.
Right. And it's perma-rest as long as she's on the field, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's really good.
This is gonna be annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. And looking at your test deck, like your test games and whatnot, what would be like a bad matchup against this?
I think a bad matchup will basically be things that, you know, maybe double block or things that are not affected by BP reduction. You know, like recently we're going to get the, you know, the Kenpachi, the raid, you know, can't be reduced by BP effects. And then even if you like remove it from the battlefields, all you do is you take off the raid card and you still get like the 4K underneath, or the 4K body underneath.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything that has any type of, you know, resistance to being cleared out, usually has a better matchup than this. Or if a heavy removal deck can also, you know, kind of clear this board out, especially, you know, like if you don't have your Ichigo engine going, you know, they clear it, then you really can't draw too many cards. And obviously this is kind of like a one-cost bouncer. So you lose a body to gain another benefit, but you're still losing a body to be able to push up next turn.
Yeah.
So yeah, so any kind of rush deck can also kind of, you know, force the hand of this deck. So
No,
yeah,
I
I'd say
feel
those
you.
were the kind of matchups that hurt it.
Okay. Well, are you looking forward to playing this deck consistently? It seems like a fun deck.
Yeah, I think this is like one of my probably picks that I'm probably gonna do for regionals. Yeah, so I'm going to Gen Con, so this looks like one of the decks that, like I said, if you're going to a tournament that has many rounds, you want a very consistent deck, and this deck draws a lot. You have a raid that can become a 5k body, and you have certain effects that can, you know, get through attacks. Like this is pretty much like a game-winning card right here. You know, it's unblockable against 4k or more, and then you have the 0 cost on Getsu, which is 3k or less. So if you discard it, then the only thing that can block this is 3500.
Which is very niche in this game.
So in some ways, this is better than Impact 1, because, you know, people
It's
can
a
still have, it's a
yeah.
guaranteed hit.
Okay. Any closing comments, Izzy, for our audience?
I think if you want to really play this deck, there's a lot of play lines that you have to think about, and you have to know what hands you have to mulligan, because you can get into situations where, you know, you only have 2 AP cards in your hand. So you have to make sure that you don't overuse, especially the special, right? Because the special does, you have to trash it and you have to bottom deck a card, so you kind of run out of hand size if you're not careful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would be thinking about whenever you're playing this deck.
Bet. All right, you heard it here first, folks. Hope y'all liked the video. Just remember to like, subscribe, share, hit that bell for notifications for our future videos, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.